Hey guys, BJ with Park Manager. So here's what we got. So it's spring outside, right? So there's a couple things we want to look at a property. Just kind of check, make sure everything's looking correct this time of year. As everything's starting to change, you know, the spring, a lot of water, a lot of rain, that kind of stuff. So we're gonna check foundations. Look at the HVAC outside as we get ready to switch from heat to cooling, and then some gutters, downspouts, that kind of stuff. So I'll walk you through, but enjoy the video. And we'll come with the checklist after. So here we're on property, just gonna kind of walk the property and look around. I'm gonna look up here at the eaves, make sure everything looks good, everything's clean there. We're looking for pests, that kind of stuff, maybe some bees nests, some wasp nests. We had a couple I've noticed here. Just kind of viewing it, walking around, checking stuff. You know, up at the gutters here, we wanna look along those gutter lines. If we're seeing a spot where it's like really dark and discolored, that's a good sign that gutter's clogged. So right here, the downspout, everything looks good there. Walk through here. So here we got some wood. I can see a lot of bees, Carpenter bees in here, which this wood's pretty old, and so they're definitely attracted to. So this is something we want to keep an eye on, that it's probably something needs to be replaced pretty soon. You can see it here. All those up there. Let's see, up in there. So that's something we need to keep an eye on. Let's go back over here. We got a shed over here that looks like could have some issues. It's got some moss growing on it. Make sure there's no water issues there. Everything's good there. But really just kind of walking around, checking the property, checking the yard. These guys take really good care of it. Looking to make sure everything's kept up. All right, here we got some exterior siding that looks like it either needs to be cleaned or possibly painted, so we're looking at that. Let's see if we can get out of this sunlight here. See the discoloration there? So that's something we want to look at. Want to look at window screens, make sure, you know, all the ones that potentially open, that they're not missing or torn. All right, so here's something here. We've got this deck. So this could be something we could look at, maybe staining. Is it as you don't stain it starts to wear away, starts to hold more water. So it's something we want to look at sealing on this. So we definitely could do a power wash of this and then a recoat. Maybe a little sanding, you know, just some of these rough edges, but nothing too insane. Again, checking these gutters, these eaves right here, make sure everything looks good. Window screens look good, door shuts tight. So this is a property we know we have rain gutter issues over here. As you can see, there's a million pine trees here. This property has gutter guards, but the pine needles still go through those gutter guards. So pretty often we gotta open this up right here and clean that out. But as long as it's done before anything crazy, we're good. And one thing over here we're gonna look at real quick is this HVAC unit. Just make sure we're checking it. So this is pretty open, it looks pretty clean, looks really good. We want to check around, make sure there's, you know, not bushes, make sure there's good airflow, make sure it looks clean. Just checking, looking at it. We will call an HVAC guy. And then the last thing we got here is there has been a wasp nest. I don't know if you can see this up there, but up there, that's been knocked down. We need to get up there and knock that down a little more. All right, as we go through, one last thing we're looking at here is there's a gutter issue I know we have here. And so what this is the roof needs to be replaced, most likely. And so you can see a little lip right there. So a good identifier is the gutter has some discoloration here. And so with that discoloration, you can see that water comes over that edge. And if this wasn't a front porch, that potentially could be going to your foundation. So that's kind of stuff you want to really look at. I'm also checking foundation, checking dirt, make sure it's sloping away from the house. Because if it's sitting flat or like this, any water that hits there is going to go into that foundation. And so we want to have water going away, because water is always going to go the easiest path it can find, and that's that's downhill. So checking gutters is a really big one. Gutters overflowed, gutters full, then it caused overflowing, then it caused foundation, and then you're dealing with tearing out sheetrock, that kind of stuff. So that's just some of the things we look at when we're walking around. And so, you know, if you're a tenant, if you're a customer of Real Property Management, we're taking care of this stuff for you. We're going to go through our properties in the next month doing our evaluations. We're going to also go and check inside. If you are a DIY and do this yourself, these are just some of the things you need to look at. Get out to your property, check them. Some tenants are fantastic. Some tenants take care of everything, but you still want to go get eyes on it. You still want to go meet the tenant, show them you're serious about it. And then, you know, some tenants, they're really bad about this kind of stuff and they're not calling you. So if you're not out there checking it, you don't know what's happening in the property. Then you get in and all of a sudden you find issues in the basement or a gutter that's overflowed, you know, or HVAC that's just covered and not getting airflow. And then you're looking at large expenses that we charge $99 for these. You know, we're here for 30, 45 minutes, typically inside, outside. But if we find a couple things like that we fix, it's going to save you thousands of dollars down the line. So again, BJ with Real Property Management. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you.